It's week 12. At some point, we're going to find out which team is good, right? Right? Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Well, I mean, by the end of the season, we should at least know, I think, Grossi. And today, we are going to be ranking the top 10 teams heading into week 12. That's right. We are now 2/3 through the 2025 NFL season. December is getting closer and closer. Thanksgiving is next week, and we're about to find out which of these teams are going to go to the postseason. Before we break that down, let's talk about our honorable mentions this week, and it's kind of all over the place. But our first honorable mention is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, now I want you to look at me. Make direct eye contact here, right through the screen, whether it's your phone, whether you're watching on your TV, whether your laptop, whether you're pooping. Direct eye contact. I want somebody to tell me, where the hell has that been from the Jaguars? The Jaguars are an enigma this season. Every single time I think they're going to do well, like they beat the Kansas City Chiefs, then they go and they crap the bed. And then when I think their season is over, they go and absolutely stomp out the LA Chargers. For me, that was the biggest surprise this week because while the Jaguars defense is definitely better than what it was last year, it has been inconsistent. And you want to talk about inconsistent, you could look at the Jaguars offense. However, this week, everything looked okay. I mean, the offense still wasn't fantastic, but the defense was much better. And I know they're going up against a banged up offensive line for the Chargers, but hey, they deserve a lot of credit. I did not see this one coming. Jacoby Myers, who they just traded for, has been their leading receiver now 2 weeks in a row. And hopefully, as they get a little bit healthier, I know Travis Hunter is not going to be coming back. Maybe they could do something this season. The division is probably out of reach as the Colts are playing pretty darn well, though they don't have the easiest of schedules left as they're taking on the Chiefs next week. But yeah, Jaguars, I'm just hoping by the end of the season, I just have some kind of sense about which team you are. Are you a good team? Are you a bad team? Are you somewhere in the middle? But yeah, you beat the crap out of the Chargers. You deserve some credit. So because of that, you get an honorable mention. Then for the second week in a row, I gotta shout out the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens. It was not a pretty game unless your name is Mark Andrews and you're doing a fake tush push. Then in that case, you're setting records and you're getting touchdowns. But besides Mark Andrews on that offense, Lamar Jackson still hasn't seemed like his old self. But the good news for the Ravens is that their defense now for a couple weeks in a row is looking pretty darn good. And considering Aaron Rodgers is dealing with a wrist injury and the Steelers definitely have a gauntlet of teams to go through near the end of the season, the Ravens, I still think, are in good shape to potentially steal the AFC North from Pittsburgh. You want to see that offense click a little bit more, but of course, Myles Garrett and that Browns defense is very darn good. And the Ravens, at the end of the day, they were able to get the win, and that's all that matters. We'll see if their play is going to be elevated by the end of the season, but for right now, they get another honorable mention. And we'll see if they're going to enter the top 10 sooner rather than later. And then finally, you got the San Francisco 49ers. You happy 49ers fans? You get another honorable mention. And the reason being is you're finding ways to win games. Yeah, you got your ass absolutely kicked by the Rams last week, but hey, now you kick the crap out of the Arizona Cardinals. And most importantly, Brock Purdy in his return game looked really darn good. Wasn't making mistakes. The offense was humming along. And it seems like the 49ers offense is going to be in good shape as guys get healthier. Ricky Pearsall is back. Eventually we'll get Brandon Ayuk back. The defense is where I'm a bit concerned. Obviously you have some major injuries to Fred Warner and Nick Bosa, and I do think their ceiling is definitely limited with all of those injuries, but able to bounce back and beat a division rival, I think is at least a good sign. We'll see how they're going to play at the end of the season as they're going to have to play some NFC West opponents. And listen, looking at that division, it is not easy this year. But for the 49ers, you get a nice win. So because of that, you get on the honorable mentions. You won 7 games. Let's see how many more you can win. And before we dive into the top 10, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to you all. Because of you, we are less than 70,000 subscribers away from 1 million subs. Again, this show is completely and totally free. There are never any sponsors on these videos. And so if you'd like to help out the channel, feel free to hit the subscribe button. It's totally free, getting us one step closer to 1 million. And then I can finally shut up about it. And so starting off with number 10, you got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. And listen, I know what you're saying already. Tom, you frickin' homer. And I get it. There are a few other teams that could deserve this number 10 spot. But damn it, these are Tom Grossi's power rankings.
I didn't ask for this. I say there's a place for us, but maybe it's just another pipe dream. Maybe I'm fooling myself again. This isn't a democracy anymore.
No, but seriously, let me explain why I think the Packers are at number 10. First of all, the Packers were able to get a win over the Giants this past Sunday in a game that was a bit challenging. They were going up against Jameis Winston as Jackson Dart suffered a concussion against the Chicago Bears. And while Russell Wilson didn't play, Jameis did a pretty good job. The unfortunate thing for the Packers was that it was a very frustrating game. Of course, Josh Jacobs got banged up. He has a knee injury, but thankfully that is not serious. He's considered day-to-day, and he could even play against the Minnesota Vikings. The issue with the Packers continues to be the offense, as it is inconsistent. And this time, nobody could catch a freaking football. You had multiple drops from wide receivers. Romeo Doubs dropped a couple of passes. Luke Musgrave had a really rough day. And overall, there were a couple of big plays that were negated because guys just could not catch the ball. On top of that, I counted 4 interceptions dropped on the defensive side of the ball. You had Keyshawn Nixon, Carrington Valentine, and more drop potential interceptions. Evan Williams was finally the guy who picked off Jameis Winston at the very end. And I think that gives me actually a little bit of hope, because these things, they are fixable. And even though they went through all that adversity, hell, even Jordan Love got knocked out of that game for a hot minute. Malik Willis came in, he scored a touchdown, and Jordan Love played a really great game and was able to lead the team down the field, hitting Christian Watson in the end zone for the go-ahead touchdown. And so while they definitely left some points on the field, I feel pretty good about the defense. Tyrone Tracy did have himself a good day, but the week prior, they were able to hold Saquon Barkley to less than 3 yards per carry. And on top of that, I feel a little bit better about the Packers, who are now in second place in the NFC North, and the Chicago Bears are number 1. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But the fact that the Eagles were able to dominate the Lions, especially on defense, makes me feel a little bit better about the loss last week. And the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young just threw for nearly 450 yards against the Falcons. And so honestly, I'm feeling a little bit better about that loss as well. The Packers could also be getting healthier on offense, as Matt LaFleur said that Jaden Reed and Marshawn Lloyd could be designated for return from IR this week. Of course, the Packers have been without Marshawn Lloyd basically since he's been drafted, so it'll be interesting to see the young running back finally get some playing time. But most importantly, getting Jaden Reed back, who suffered an injury earlier this season, would be a huge boost to this offense. And so hopefully it's good news being revealed on Wednesday. What we've been talking about with the Packers, though, is that they have 7 games remaining, and 5 out of those 7 games are against division rivals, including the next 3. They have the Vikings on Sunday, then a short week against the Lions on Thanksgiving, then the Chicago Bears. The last 2 non-divisional opponents are the Broncos, who are currently sitting at 9-2, and the Baltimore Ravens, who are an honorable mention in these power rankings. And so we are going to find out very quickly if the Green Bay Packers are actually a contender this year. I do feel good about their defense. On top of that, Toyotathon is starting, and Jordan Love did play really well on Sunday. And so I'm hoping they put it all together, and these last 7 games, we can finally see the potential of this squad. And if not, well, then they won't make the power rankings again, and I'll be sad. Number 9, it's the end of the world. You got the Carolina Panthers. That's right. The Panthers have made their first appearance in the top 10.
Oh, king in the castle, king in the castle. Have a chair, I have a chair.
The Panthers, they're another team that is so frustrating because talking about them before this game, they just came off a loss against the New Orleans Saints, and that's after they beat the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. However, they were really shut down. Bryce Young had not played well the past couple of weeks. Rico didn't get anything going against New Orleans, and I said if they had a shot at beating the Falcons, they were going to have to utilize Rico Dowdle on the ground a ton. Did they? Absolutely not. What happened instead? Bryce Young set the franchise record for most yards in a single game, surpassing Cam Newton for the Panthers. And yeah, it was a fantastic game for the very young quarterback. Teteroa and McMillan, that has paid off very, very well, as he was phenomenal in that game. And while there are definitely things to clean up, and I don't know if the Panthers are a playoff team, the fact that they are in this position right now, I think speaks a lot to not only their coaching, but also you're starting to see the team as a whole progress. We've been talking about these divisional games, and they are completely up in the air because it's been a wonky season all year. And so that's what I'm going to kind of chalk up that Saints loss to, because the Panthers, while we definitely have shut them down previously this season going, all right, it's all over, they have shown potential that they can be a really good team, or at the very least, a developing team. And that is something that Panthers fans have been waiting to see for quite some time. I know they went into overtime against the very inconsistent Falcons, and this doesn't mean that they're going to be a playoff team, but I think the Panthers deserve a ton of credit. They've knocked off some difficult opponents, and on top of that, a big win, and winning in a different way. They're not just relying on the ground game and Rico. Bryce Young was a hero on Sunday, and yeah, he deserves some credit. So because of that, the Panthers are at number 9. Number 8, I don't wanna. You got the Chicago Bears. Yeah. The Bears are currently number 1 in the NFC North. Is this a sign of the end times?
They say an angel has foretold the apocalypse.
Keep an eye on it.
The Bears able to sneak away yet another win this past Sunday, as they were able to knock off the Minnesota Vikings and 9, Mr. J.J. McCarthy. McCarthy had himself a rough day against that Bears defense, throwing a couple of interceptions, and overall just did not look very good. And for the Bears, listen, they didn't play the cleanest game either. DeAndre Swift definitely had himself a good game, and while that defense definitely is missing some pieces, the Bears once again were able to pull off another gritty win. And here's what I think about the Chicago Bears. I think that while their schedule has been a little bit easier, you cannot deny the fact that they have progressed and developed as a team. Caleb Williams has definitely shown signs of progression this year under Ben Johnson, who is definitely the right coach for the job. And if you're a Bears fan, I think he has lived up to all of the hype so far. And yes, while they are not beating the most complete teams, as I don't think the Vikings are a very good football team this year, hell, the Vikings just beat the Detroit Lions, and while they did struggle against the Chicago Bears, 1, you never know because of divisional games, and 2, the Bears have no control over who their opponent is that week. And so because of that, I got to give the Bears a whole lot of credit. And we're about to find out if Chicago is the real deal. Just like the Packers, they're going to have to go through the gauntlet of NFC North teams sooner rather than later, and we're about to see how freaking good they actually are. And so right now, they're sitting at number 1 in the division. They get to hold on to that for a week. We'll see how things go by the end of the year, and they might even miss the playoffs, but they're in a much better position from where they were last season. And so because of that, they deserve some credit as they climb up the top 10. Number 7, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills. Oh boy, things were looking scary against the Buccaneers in the beginning, but by the end, Josh Allen had 3 passing touchdowns and 3 rushing touchdowns.
I have triples of the Barracuda. I have triples, right? If I don't have triples, then the other stuff's not true. Triples with the Nova now. Triples makes it safe. Now, triples is best. Yeah.
It's like you just had to remember, oh wait, I'm Josh Allen and I'm really good at football. But yeah, the Bills, let's talk about it. The Buccaneers, they definitely were able to go toe-to-toe with Buffalo, and they deserve a lot of credit as they are a beat-up football team right now. But the Bills were able to pull away later in that game due to the efforts of Josh Allen, who was absolutely phenomenal on Sunday after he had a couple of turnovers. You still worry about the Bills' defense, as their run defense definitely leaves some room for improvement, as Sean Tucker was able to run all over them on Sunday. And unfortunately, that has been a consistent thing over these past few weeks. And for the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots are still number 1 in their division, and they got some catching up to do. The Bills will be playing the Patriots later on in a few weeks, and I think that that is going to be one hell of a game. And if the Bills don't clean up things soon, I don't think they're going to win the division, though I do still see them as a playoff team. Keon Coleman was disciplined this past week week as he was late once again to a meeting, or I think he might have missed it altogether. And this is not the first time that this has happened. And so they are going to need some of their young stars to really step up. The Bills have desperately needed a deep threat on offense. And yeah, if Josh Allen can corral that offense and James Cook can continue to run well, I do think the Bills will be a problem come playoff time just because their offense can put up a ton of points. And so even though I don't really believe in their defense, I still think they are a top 10 team, which is why they come in at number 7. And let's see if they can finish off the rest of the season. Number 6, you got the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts got to rest up over the bye week before a challenging set of games awaits them. And the Colts are going to drop a couple of spots, even though they didn't play this week, because honestly, while they didn't play, just about everything went wrong for them. As you had the Patriots winning, the Jaguars had a big win, the Texans continued to win, and yeah, the Colts, who I still think have a good shot to win their division, they are still having a healthy lead and have a nice cushion between them and the Jaguars. Things are a little bit concerning as this schedule is going to get more difficult. They have a big game against the Kansas City Chiefs this upcoming Sunday, and it's going to be a really good test to see where both squads are. The Chiefs are trying to save their season and just make the playoffs at this point, and the Colts are trying to hold on to that divisional lead and maybe even capture that number 1 seed in the AFC. But as long as they have Jonathan Taylor and Daniel Jones doesn't make too many mistakes, that Colts offense is still going to be operating at a pretty high level. We'll see how their defense looks another week with Sauce Gardner, and overall, I still feel pretty good about the Colts. They're just dropping a couple spots this week because they didn't play. They'll be right up in these power rankings if they're able to beat Kansas City next week, and from there, we'll see how high they can go. Number 5, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles finally making their way back into the top 5 after the win over the Detroit Lions this past Sunday, and it was yet another low-scoring defensive game. They just had a single touchdown against the Packers this past Monday night, and this past Sunday, things were not much better on the offensive side of the ball, though they were going up against another good defense, even though the Lions were missing a whole bunch of pieces. But let's talk about the Philadelphia Eagles. Their defense over these past couple weeks has looked really damn good. You had Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis just batting down pass after pass on Jared Goff. Jalen Phillips, who they just traded for from the Dolphins these past 2 weeks, has looked like a game wrecker. And that defensive line is looking really damn scary, and they already have a pretty damn good secondary with Mitchell and Cooper DeJean back there. Unfortunately for the Eagles, the inconsistencies continue on the offensive side of the ball. I did mention that they are playing against a good defense, but you have to have a little bit of concern the fact that they're not able to move the ball very well. And on top of that, Saquon has just not looked like himself. And while A.J. Brown definitely got more involved in this game plan, you just have to wonder if that offense is going to come back and bite them later in the postseason. But for Eagles fans, I don't know how much that's going to matter because right now you're currently number 1 in the NFC. And on top of that, your defense is so damn good, I think it's going to override whatever issues your offense is having right now. Because right now, there is not a singular team in the NFL that looks perfect. There are flaws with every single squad. And right now in the NFC, you're looking at 5 potential top teams in that conference, and the Eagles are one of them. Especially so when their secret alliances, as the Bears and the Eagles, have been helping each other out quite a lot lately.
Do you want to form an alliance with me?
Absolutely, I do.
Good.
Collusion. But in all seriousness, the Eagles are a good football team. Their defense is playing really damn well. Their offense, you hope they catch up eventually, but as of right now, I still think they're a top 5 team, and so that's why Philadelphia is coming in at number 5. Number 4, hey, look, it's the amount of interceptions they threw. You got the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks tumbling down from number 1 and just a little bit to number 4 as Sam Darnold had a rough game with 4 interceptions. But their team is sticking by their QB.
I'm Ricky Bobby. If you don't chew Big Red, then you.
So yeah, Sam Darnold saw a whole bunch of ghosts this past Sunday, but I gotta give the Seahawks still a ton of credit. Yes, it was a messy performance by Sam Darnold, and you definitely have some concerns going forward. However, JSN, still a really damn good player. They do still have a pretty damn good run game, but it's their defense which I'm even more impressed with after this loss. The fact that Sam Darnold turned the ball over 4 times, and the Seahawks were able to keep that game close, to the fact that it even came down to a potential game-winning field goal, yeah, They deserve a lot of credit for that. And again, their secondary is still not at full strength. The Seahawks defensive line is one of the best in the entirety of the NFL. And yeah, they did lose a close game to the LA Rams, but they're going to have a chance at revenge in just about a month when they play again in Seattle. And I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFL. And so because of that, even though the Seahawks did lose and it was a bad performance by Sam Darnold, they're not going to tumble down too far. They're still in the top 5, coming in at number 4. And let's just hope that Sam Darnold starts ghost busting pretty soon. Number 3, you got the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are ready to clap back at everyone who was talking smack online about them last week.
Are you username LadiesMan217?
After a pretty terrible game against the Raiders, they had a much better game, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs this past Sunday, in which their defense put on another dominant performance. If it wasn't for a couple of pass interference calls, who knows how many points the Chiefs would have scored. It would have been a lot less than they already did. But that defense has been consistently one of the best in the NFL. And we've been talking about the Broncos, that they've been hovering around the top 5 for a bit now, and their defense is undeniable at this point. But when you talk about their offense, right, that's where all the flaws and all the criticism has been. You look at Bo Nix, and he's had a very up and down season. You want him to progress more. On top of that, you look at the Sean Payton play calling, the lack of the run game without J.K. Dobbins. They don't really have a tight end still. But hey, Bo Nix shut up a lot of people yesterday because he was able to put together a really good game, and when he needed to show up, he freaking performed, man. And so now the Broncos have won 8 games in a row, and they have gotten themselves a really nice cushion. Not only are the Chiefs struggling to try and make the postseason, but the Chargers just lost yesterday big to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And so they're sitting pretty, not only number 1 in the AFC West, but number 1 in the entire conference right now. And when you're talking about teams like the Patriots or the Broncos, they both are going to have flaws, but if they wind up getting the first seed in the AFC, I don't think there's a single team that wants to go to Foxborough or wants to go to Denver in January. And so if the Broncos are able to pull off these wins, regardless of how pretty they are, who knows? They could be a Super Bowl contender, which sounds crazy to say after seeing how that offense has played at times, but their defense is that damn good. Their offense was pretty solid on Sunday, and Bo Nix was able to get the job done. And so because of that, they knocked off a division rival and are now in the top 3. Let's see if Brandon Perna is going to continue to gloat. Number 2, you got the New England Patriots. The Patriots were able to take care of business against the New Jersey Jets this past Thursday. You had Henderson scoring a hat trick, 2 rushing touchdowns, 1 receiving touchdown, as he has just been a monster over these past couple of weeks. He had a really good game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and had another really good game against the Jets. And I imagine when Ramondre Stevenson is coming back, I don't know if he's going to have an RB1 job to come back to. But we also got to talk about Drake May, who had another great performance on Thursday, as he's been playing really well this season. And we didn't think the Patriots could find another Tom Brady, but Siths always coming too.
Always 2 there are. No more, no less.
But which was destroyed? The master or the apprentice?
And for the Patriots, we've been talking about their upcoming schedule to end the season, and they have some easier games up ahead. And considering the Broncos have a little bit of a tougher schedule, the Patriots are still in a good position to take the number 1 seed from Denver and get that first round bye. And considering how well their offense is playing, the O-line, even though Drake May is getting banged up a little bit, for the most part is better, and it's a lot better than what it was last season. Their run game has really found a new level with Henderson, and their defense continues to be solid. The evil empire looks to have returned, and let's just see if the empire is going to continue to strike back. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new number 1.
Would like to take notes while I take totes.
You got the LA Rams. From undesirable to undeniable, the LA Rams find themselves atop these power rankings, and for good reason. And listen, as we talked about the Seahawks, I'm not super duper happy that the Rams kept the Seahawks in that game and allowed them to even potentially kick that game winner, but the Rams deserve a lot of credit here. Over these past few weeks, the Rams have been climbing up and up and up these power rankings. Matthew Stafford has been playing playing incredibly well, so well that his name has been in MVP conversations. But that defense, which caused 4 turnovers against Sam Darnold, yeah, they deserve a lot of credit. They're able to get after opposing quarterbacks. They're able to force them to make mistakes. And Davante Adams, listen, he might not be doing a whole lot in a game, but when he does, he scores freaking touchdowns. His 1,000th catch in his career, and it's a touchdown. And I love me some Davante Adams, so a huge congratulations to him. And the Rams are currently sitting pretty number 1 atop their division in a very competitive NFC West, might I add. And the Rams, they don't have the easiest of schedules up ahead, as they got to take on the Buccaneers, then they got to go against the Panthers, who are surging right now. They got to play the Lions, and they are going to have to play the Seahawks one more time in Seattle. And so there are definitely a limited amount of gimme games here, but the Rams have proven that they can go toe-to-toe with some of the top teams in the NFL. They went toe-to-toe with the Eagles in a losing effort. They were able to knock off the Indianapolis Colts, and now being able to beat the Seahawks, yeah, they deserve the top spot in these power rankings. They're playing pretty damn well on both sides of the ball. And who knows, maybe we'll be talking about the Rams as the potential number 1 seed in the NFC if the Eagles falter. But for right now, they deserve the number 1 spot in these power rankings. And Rams, just make sure you take care of Davante Adams. And so, just to recap, at number 1, you got the Rams, 2 Patriots, 3 Broncos, 4 Seahawks, 5 Eagles, 6 Colts, 7 Bills, 8 Bears, 9 Panthers, and 10 Packers. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off of it? Let me know. You know, find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go. Sorry, I forgot to do the subscribing.